Hi everyone, my name is Connie and I'm on here today. I started this channel because I experienced near death uh, several years ago, and I wanted to reach out and share my experience to those that might have had one also that needed confirmation of what they went through, or those that are having issues with faith and uh, need more confirmation, or just somebody who's interested in the subject. Sorry for my phone warbling around. This is the first actual video I did. I did a little hello song when I first came on last year, but this is the first actual video on the subject that I'm doing. Um, so the basis of this channel is to talk about things that are out of the box. The near-death experience. I've got 4 people that want to come on in the next few months. Maybe every 3 weeks or so I'll do another video with a guest who will discuss their near-death experience with you. And also, I have psychic dreams. I can't tell your future, so don't ask me to do your fortune. I'm not one of those. I just have dreams sometimes of things that come to pass. I dream about it beforehand, and I don't dream about everything, but I dream about important things or things that, I guess I need to know. Um, Sometimes they're symbolic, and sometimes they're just outright. Um, so, and also, I'm an Emmy girl. Yes, I've been mandected. I'm not the only one who was with me when I saw these things, so it wasn't my imagination. I live in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is near the border of Oklahoma. We're a couple of hours from Dallas. Um, it's about 100,000 people here. I've lived here most of my life, off and on, but most of my life. And I saw buildings that weren't there. 2 weeks later, they were there, and 2 weeks after that, they weren't there again. And these are humongous buildings. I wish I'd have taken pictures, but I didn't. I'm a Jiffy girl. I'm a Berenstein Bears girl, and the list goes on and on. But we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm going to get some more equipment so that I can do live streams occasionally if I get enough people who want to come on and talk. So I'm 63. I have a grown son and daughter who live here where I do. Not with me, but they live in my town. Um, I I believe in God and Jesus. Yes, I do. I'll tell you right now. Um, and let me give you a background on what happened to me. Back in the 1990s, mid-1990s, I was working at a big company here in the office, and I kept getting these migraine headaches, horrible migraine headaches, which I never got, but I started having them. My family doctor had passed away, so I didn't have a family doctor, and I tried to get in to see a neurologist, and there was only a couple here then, and they were booked up for 2 months. And it was time for me to get my eyes examined. So when I went to the eye doctor, I asked him, could my eyes be causing my headaches? He said, maybe. Well, let me take a look. So he examined my eyes, and after he got through, he said, yeah, I'm very concerned. He said, you need to see a neurologist right away. I said, why? He said, your optic nerves look like cauliflower, and they're usually very thin little nerves that are in your eye, and they just look like they're swollen up. And I said, well, what could cause that? And he said, you've got swelling on your brain. Now, what's causing the swelling on your brain, I don't know, but whatever it is, it's very dangerous. So he got me in real quick. They did a regular MRI, no dye or anything, but they did a regular MRI and didn't see a tumor, but they saw the swelling, and so the doctor said, "You have pseudotumor cerebri." I said, "What? Pseudo what?" He said, "That means your brain thinks it has a tumor, and it's the fluids building up on your brain and swelling your brain." And he said, "I want to put you in the hospital and do a spinal tap so we can drain some of the fluid off and gauge the pressure." I'm like, "No." He said, he slammed his hands down on the table and said, "Let me tell you something. You either go or you're going to die." And so I said, "Well, okay." So in the hospital I went, and back then they didn't have the MRIs, the spinal taps like they do now with all of the fancy stuff and the blocks and all that where you don't feel it. They just gave you a little local numbing, and in they went. And let me tell you, that is the worst pain I've ever had in my life outside of having a baby. So if you ever had a spinal tap like that and you want to know what a baby feels like when their woman's having a baby, that's it. It's terrible. And anyway, he said, yeah, the fluid was really built up in there, and he had to drain some off. And I was so sick I couldn't hardly walk. I couldn't hardly sit up. And then he put me on this horrible medicine. I forget the name of it for it, and it helped some, but I still was having headaches for a few years after that. I still had bad headaches. Around 2000, my life job situation changed, and my life changed a little, and I moved to North Richland Hills, which is a suburb of Fort Worth, close to Irving, and I went to work for a major cell phone company in Irving, which was 20 miles away. And at some time, let me tell you, I will come on here and tell you about my week with the FBI regarding 9/11. But that's for another show. Anyway, these headaches, they just kept getting worse and worse. And one night the headache was so bad, I laid down to go to sleep. I took a pain pill and laid down to go to sleep. And while I was dreaming, I can see, don't you hate it when your makeup runs? While I was dreaming, my dream got interrupted, and all of a sudden I felt myself come up out of my body. And I went up through the roof, through the attic and everything, just whoosh, and off I went, just whoom. It was not really a tunnel. It was more like a vortex or something. I don't know. It was so fast, though. Seconds, maybe a minute, a couple of minutes. I don't know. And I ended up in this beautiful forest-like area that was right next to a big body of water, which was like an ocean or a beautiful lake. And the trees were just gorgeous, and the colors were like unreal colors, vivid, so you can't describe it. You really can't. It's like the colors here on Earth are washed out compared to the colors where I was at. And come running up was this dog that I had named Barry, who was half German Shepherd, half Collie. He had the hair of a Collie, but he had the colors of a German Shepherd, brown and black, and he was beautiful. He died. He was only about 3 years old. He got hit by a car accidentally. And I was enjoying petting him and so glad to see him and everything. And there was behind me the whole way. I could sense this holy presence behind me. I knew it was an angel, a male angel, but I wasn't allowed to turn around and look for some reason. I don't know why, but I knew I wasn't supposed to. And for just a little bit, I knew everything that ever was. And I felt this love of God go through every part of my being. It was like I was a part of it. It was part of me. It was so joyful, like nothing you've ever experienced here. I mean, it's like the biggest joy you've experienced here on earth on crack. I mean, it was so good. Um, and I didn't want to leave. And the next thing I knew, whew, back I went. And I came back, and I was standing in my living room, still out of body, in my living room. And this angel was standing behind me, and I still was not allowed to turn and look at him. And he was talking to me through telepathy. And I said, oh no, why did you bring me back here? I want to go back there. And he said, you can't. What about your children? And I said, well, they'll be all right. They're grown. I'll see them again. I know I'll see them again, so they'll be all right. I want to go back there. And without even saying anything else, whoosh, I was back in my body. And I sat up in the bed, and I was like, oh man, no. Oh, darn, And I still felt that love from God for 3 hours. For 3 hours. I didn't have the knowledge that I had while I was there, but I had the love, the feeling of God's love all over my being for 3 hours. I was just elated. And so anyway, a few months after that, we moved back to Wichita Falls. And I went to work for another cell phone company in a call center as a customer service rep. And I hadn't been there very long when I got this massive headache. I mean, so bad I couldn't hardly sit up. It was on a Friday, and I went home. And I got so sick I couldn't sit up without throwing up. My head hurt so bad I just cried and ate the pain pills to try to knock myself out, because if I sat up I threw up, even if it was just water. On Monday, I had someone take me to the doctor. I found a doctor that I'd never seen before, because this doctor was a family doctor, and I needed one since mine had passed away. And he examined me, and he said, I think you've got meningitis. You're going to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and boy, they stuck me on the floor where the real sick people were, and they started working on me, and they called in a neurologist, a different one, not the same one that diagnosed me with a pseudotumor. And he said, we need a dye MRI. I think something else is going on there. So they did a dye MRI, and he came back in, and he said, you're lucky. You are lucky that you're alive. You should have been dead already. You have vasculitis of the brain. You have 3 veins in your head that are closing off. They weren't big veins, but I would have died. I would have had a stroke or an aneurysm and died. And he said, I can't guarantee you're out of the woods yet. But he said, you should have been dead already. And he said, we're going to try chemotherapy and steroids. And I was in the hospital for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'm telling you, I had the intravenous chemotherapy in the hospital. I had the steroids. They had to have me on morphine because the pain was so bad. I had to go through angiograms of my brain, more MRIs of my brain, just all kinds of horrible tests and things like that. And when I finally got released from the hospital, I still had to take massive steroids and pill form of Cytoxan, which is chemotherapy, for 6 months. And it was awful. I finally went back to work, but I was just dragging. I did go into remission after 6 months. They're kind of concerned that it's coming back, so y'all keep me in your prayers. There is no cure, but you can go into remission and stay for a long time. Anyway, Yeah, I think I died that night. I really do. I think my body shot my spirit plumb out, and God brought me back. So God must want me here. I am not done with whatever it is I need to do. Um, and I'm glad. I'm glad now, of course. But um, y'all, it was so real. It was so real. I know it was real. I was there. God's real. Life after death. The soul goes on. These bodies that we're in are temporary. They're what we're able to. They're our avatars here that we live on Earth with. The soul is an energy being, and you still think, and you still know, and you still feel, and I mean, but you're not in pain by any means. Now, if you don't believe, that's okay. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And you, if you want to leave a message and share with me some experience you've had, I'd be glad to read it. I'm excited about it. And if you have anything nice to say or you have any questions, please be sure to leave a message. Join up my channel if you want to get notifications when the next one's coming out. If I get enough people to join my channel, I can maybe go streamline and do a live show sometime. But you have to have over 100 viewers, and I only have about 50 right now, people that have joined my channel. Also with psychic dreams. Now, I can't tell you future. It's not like that. I have psychic dreams where things come to me before they happen. Sometimes they're symbolic. Sometimes they're right on. I can only tell you that some of them have not come to pass so far. Some of them have. I'm going to tell y'all some of the ones next time I come on. But I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just concentrating on the near-death experiences. And I've had a ton of them that have come true. And I also sometimes get premonitions, feelings about things. It's a gift from God, but I don't do fortunes at all. No. And I'm an Emmy girl. I'm a Jiffy girl. I'm a Berenstain Bears girl. I may have already said that. I don't know. But, and the list goes on and on. Now, I don't know what causes Emmys. I don't know. But I just know that it's true. I just do. I have 4 people already that are going to come on here one by one and talk to you and tell you about their near-death experiences. Some of them went further than I did. I didn't get very far. I just got a glimpse, but it was wonderful. It really was. I'm so excited to do this. I finally figured out how to use my phone, but I'm going to get a system where I can have a computer set up and be able to, have a better microphone and camera and all of that. There's a lot of good channels out there on all these subjects. Check them all out. Scarab Performance does the Emmys. Photo Helix, his channel is about all kinds of things out of the box. Awakened Saint, Jacob Israel, Lone Eagle. I'm on all. I'm a patron to all of those. I watch them. They're always wonderful and good. I don't like to watch regular TV because it's boring, and I've even been on a television show, and I'll tell you about that sometime too. My 15 minutes of fame on national television on a television series. Anyway, Thanks for tuning in. That's all I have for today. I'm going to try to get a better format. This was just testing the water, sticking my toe in there to see if I can do this, and I hope that it will be successful. And thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. Love and hugs.